Welcome to the Sharpest College Football Podcast. This is our final preseason preview episode. We're going to call this one Games and Gags, which will make a little more sense in a moment here from Newport Beach, California. I am BuckMetrics, joined as always by everybody's favorite Canadian and North America's most accurate political pollster, Robert Martin. Robert, we've got a couple of games here that obviously focused on what we think is going to happen this season. Pretty interesting, intriguing, kind of a really cool thought process that to me seemed very different from just the regular kind of ranking teams. Fair?
Yeah, no, 100%. And we worked on these together. We brainstormed them. And the thing is that, like, when you're watching other college football shows right now, they're like, oh, here's our top 25 or whatever. These are different. These have a bit more thought into them, and they're competitive. And I think we're going to go through it, and I think these are going to be some new games. I think some podcasts might copy at some point. But no, these are really fun. I'm excited. We are recording this the Sunday night before week 0, so we are just hours away from real college football being played. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. We're just days away now, and I can't wait for Saturday when I make lunch, I go sit down, and I watch TCU and North Carolina play in Ireland for some reason. I don't care. It's going to be great. Yeah.
We will, but first, we have to get to our games and gags here. So the first game
Yes.
is a little preseason edition of the Sharpest firing range with this beautiful graphic from last year, including my beloved dog Tora at the bottom there. So a little different for the preseason here. Robert and I have both made a list of the coaches that we are predicting that are going to get fired in 2026. Interesting that each of us making a list that is long or as short as we want. Each of us prioritizes our list from 1, which is the least confident, to N, the number of coaches that we're putting on the list, which would be the most confident. So if your list was 3, 1 is your least confident, and 3 is your most confident. So for each correct prediction, you get plus points based on how you've ranked that coach, 1 meaning very little, and then if it's at the end of your list, meaning the most confident, then it's going to be big. And each incorrect one is minus points. So what is it? Isn't there some kind of aptitude test where you're better off leaving it blank than guessing because there's minus points? Is that ACT?
Yeah. We don't have the SATs in Canada, but that sounds something similar to. I'm not
Okay.
sure if it's the SAT, but there's a test that is like that. Yes.
So here's what's interesting. Neither Robert nor I have seen the other's list. I've asked him, and I've honored the same. I told him, Robert, don't even want to know how many are on your list, because that's part of the fun here. The intrigue
Hmm.
is really how deep you go. So, Robert, you're going to go first. Don't tell me how many you have. I want you to start with your number 1, meaning you're least confident. You're going to put the least amount of points
Oh, okay.
on this coach, because I want to see how part of the mystery here is like how long does your list go, and is there a name
Interesting.
here that I'm expecting and you just cut it off before you get a big, what I thought was going to be like a grand slam pick here?
All right.
Yeah, gonna be
So,
interesting though.
all right. So I will
So
begin. My
your number
least,
1,
yeah, my number one or
yeah,
my whatever bottom one.
yeah.
So the least confident I am in the coaches being fired. Starting out with a bang here. Steve Sarkisian.
Wow. How do I say this rightfully? Was that informed by any kind of discussions that we might have had off pod?
No, it wasn't. The
Okay.
thing is, it wasn't for that. The thing is, honestly, I've looked through the schedule. And honestly, okay, week 1 Texas State, fine. Week 2 Ohio State, that's difficult. At this point I want to bet Ohio State alt spreads. Um, I don't even want to bet like the +1.5. I'll bet the +1.5, but honestly, I want to start betting. I want to have Ohio State -6.5. I want to have Ohio State -9.5 on that game. Like you cannot pay me enough to bet on Texas in that game. Then they play UTSA. Maybe they may not cover the spread that cleanly in that game, but they should win that game. Then you've got Tennessee, which apparently they're only a 6-point favorite against Tennessee. That's a pretty small favorite for a team that is preseason ranked 5th. And
At
with
Tennessee,
your
by the way, we say.
at
On the
Tennessee,
road.
yes.
Yeah.
So okay, but this okay, maybe it's a bit better, but still though, you guys are the overwhelming. You have the favorite for Heisman. You're one of the biggest favorites to win the college football playoff, and you're like 6 points favorites against a team that is not project is like basically a long shot to a relatively long shot to get into the playoffs. And then you have 1 week off, and then you have Oklahoma. Very possible here that Texas could be 2-3 going before Halloween here, basically. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I can 100% see that. And then the schedule doesn't get much better. You have Florida, you have LSU. I was watching just earlier today here. There was football yesterday for the NFL preseason, but not as much today. I was going back and I was rewatching the Texas Kansas game from 2021, the
Ah,
famous one.
like, you
And
actually did it.
I did it. Yeah, I was there's another football games today, so I wanted to watch that. And there it's so crazy. They had Bijan Robinson and Jonathan
Mhm.
Brooks on their team, and both their quarterbacks were injured. Casey Thompson and Hudson Card were both injured, so they were trying to play them, but they kept throwing the ball. They were down 21 points at the half. And okay, that's not great, but it's Kansas. Kansas is 1-8. You don't get 1-8 by having a good run defense. Like,
Yeah.
just run the ball. What are you doing? But he kept trying to force his system on it, and that's the thing. And the entire time I'm watching this game, I'm just thinking, you don't get to play a 1-8 Kansas team this year. Now, again, obviously, it's not the same thing. This is a far better Texas team than that Texas team was, and it's not the same Kansas team anymore. But it's just like I've got to put him on this list. I think there's a very real possibility that he could be 2-3. It's not. I think the betting lines imply they're going to be like maybe 4-1, but I don't know if they can get through those 3 games without at least 2 losses. And if that's the case, then you still have Florida, you still have LSU. I think there's even Ole Miss in there. The schedule does not get that much easier. This is a very difficult schedule. This isn't the Big 12 anymore. There's no, oh, we get to play a 1-8 Kansas team. This is the hardest schedule they've had in many years, and I don't know if they're up for it. So yeah, least amount of points wagered, I'm putting it on Sark.
Not to beat up the Texas team to death, but I'm curious, would you have him on this list if they were like preseason number 16 and like there were lower expectations?
That's a good question, but it's impossible to answer, right? Because it's like if they were like if it was like they're 16 or like top 20 or something, but then they don't have Arch Manning, and then there wasn't expectations for last season either, right? Then they're starting. I don't know, who should we give them? Give them like who could we give them safely? That's like a
John McPear.
no. That'd still be too high, I think. What's like a decent mid-tierish quarterback? Not Sam Levitt, maybe? No.
How about, this might be a little mean, Dylan Raiola?
Sure, yeah, you know what? That's perfect. If they have Dylan Raiola and they're like 20th, then maybe I could be like, sure, okay. He probably wouldn't be on that list, but they're fifth, I think. Last time I checked, in the
Yeah.
AP,
Yeah. Yep.
they're the
Okay.
favorites for
Yeah.
Heisman. Yeah, if they were like 20th and it was barely expected for them to make the playoff and they went 7-5, there'd be heat. But I don't think a 7-5 7-5 100% gets him fired. I think even 8-4 gets him fired.
Wow. Here's the thing. I've seen this guy up close and personal, and then from a little bit of distance up at Washington. You're getting what you signed up for, Texas.
Yeah, and
A
this is
great
the thing.
recruiter, not a good coach.
Yeah, we have seen that Kansas game a bunch of times, except that now the Texas team is better and quote unquote that Kansas team is better. Like last year against Mississippi State, last year against Kentucky. We've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
And it's just that they keep looking really highly rated out of the preseason, and they keep winning games. Like they made the
Yeah.
playoffs the last 2 years before last year. It's just that I think that if you're Texas and they don't do well this year with Arch Manning, I think there's going to be a very clear. Then what do you need to? What else could we have possibly given you to win?
Yeah.
And that's the
That's a
thing,
good
because
point.
like if
Yeah.
you can't win with Arch Manning, the most hyped prospect possibly ever for at least many years, and all the resources of Texas, then what would it take to win? Like
Yeah.
if you can't compete with Ohio State, that was one of Ohio State's worst games last year against Texas too. Ohio State got far better after that game. I think there's a non-zero chance Ohio State just blows them out, and if that's the case, this just starts going downhill real fast potentially. So
Yeah. They were protecting Sand last year, and I don't think you're going to see that this year.
yeah,
All right. Do you have a number two?
so
Is it a list of one?
that was least likely.
Yes,
And
yes.
then,
So 2 points. We'll go with 2 point. Your 2 point pick, if you have one, or did you stop at one?
oh no, I
I
have a
don't.
lot longer of a list.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, I know. Okay, so I'll keep telling you before
Yeah.
I announce a pick. I'll say, and then I have another pick after this pick.
No, I didn't want to know that.
Okay.
I want this to be as organically surprising as possible.
All right, you go with
No, no,
your.
no, no.
So
You
yeah.
keep going until you're gonna go
Oh,
through your whole list.
I keep going.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So next, least likely, I'm gonna do Derek Mason, Middle Tennessee. I This one is kind. There's a lot of these that are like iffy. He's only had a few years, but this is a Conference USA school, so I think he definitely could be in the hot seat, but he may pull it off. So that's fine. Next up, again, I'm slightly less confident in this. These are some of the ones I'm slightly less confident in. We're gonna go Dabo Sweeney from Clemson.
Wow, that's
Um,
a big buyout, man.
that's why he's on this list. That's why he's
Yeah,
there. If that buyout wasn't there, he'd be a lot higher on this list. But it's the buyout, and it's just maybe Clemson has just decided we can't fire him until 2032 or something, right? I don't know, right? So
yeah,
that's why he's lower on the list.
yeah. And like we said, there's no reason to think they're anything other than an average ACC team.
Yeah,
And boy, that kind of buyout for the guy that's won you 2 national titles it's an interesting discussion and exercise. I'll just put it that way.
yeah. Next
Okay.
up, next up, Phil Longo, Sam Houston State.
In year two,
That's why he's on the lower on this list, but it's been really bad.
it's been okay. It's been 12 games of bad, but
Yeah, but then we could be
it's
24
been
games of, or yeah, 20. We could be 24 games of bad after this year, right? So
okay. I had a question that I wanted to kind of give some context to that, but that might spoil this game. No, we'll come back to that. And it's a horrible thought exercise, anyways. So,
okay.
okay.
Next up, or I guess next down, Tony Sanchez, New Mexico State. This is his third year. It's been not great, but again, this is another one where it's New Mexico State. What are you expecting, right? Are you really going to fire a guy and then replace him with someone else, right? That's the thing. So,
Yeah. When we previewed the Conference USA, like, I think he has one win. That's not, geez, that's really what you're supposed to do.
yeah. And
Okay. You're bidding like just horrible teams here.
and this is the theme I have down the list. It's like bigger ticket ones that probably should. This is the way I structured it because obviously we started off with Sark. It's like bigger ticket ones that that there's definitely a path to happen, and like lower tier ones that arguably should happen, but like financials and the university itself can get into the way of it should happen, right? That's the thing. It's like Tony
Yeah.
Sanchez. It's like okay, yeah, should he be fired? Yeah, probably. Are they going to pay the money to get rid of him? I don't know, maybe. Like that's the question, right? Next
That
up.
would make,
Oh, go
there's
ahead.
sorry, just on that point. There's one coach on here that I'm going to be curious how you treated this coach because there's a very specific version of those circumstances, and we'll talk about that later. It's an
Yeah,
interesting discussion if it doesn't come up here. Okay.
yeah. Next up, we're gonna go Chris Creighton, Eastern Michigan.
Oh no. Okay, I disagree with you there. I hate to spoil anything, but come on.
Okay, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
I
I
mean, they
it's
were
been
so
rough.
bad before him.
Yeah, but it's been rough. It's been rough. So we'll see on that. Next up, Scotty Waldron, UTEP. This is another one where it's like this is like
Yeah.
the New Mexico State tier. It's just yeah, they probably should move on, but will they? I don't know. Right, that's the thing. Next up, Dave Aranda, Baylor. I like how I'm saying the schools after this. We all know the schools, but
Soon to be formerly of Baylor.
yeah, formerly of Baylor. No, it's just they've been in the decline for several years, and I think Baylor wants to be a premier school in Texas, and I think that that's where that stands. Next up, Mike Loxley, Maryland. I think a Big Ten school, they have enough money. The buyout can't be that big. I don't know the exact details, but they must not have paid him that much money. There's no way they gave him guaranteed money for a guy who made a couple bowl games. That's it. There's no way.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't know. How do I say this? I cannot reconcile. We actually talked about this with Isaiah too. The belief in some specific quarterbacks here, maybe I'm just too wedded to Apex, although I think it's a good objective measure. He sucked the last 8 games of the season. He wasn't good. He had
Yeah.
good numbers the first month of the season. For the whole season, he was bad, which means that those last 8 weeks, he was exceptionally bad. Now, somebody said, one podcast I was listening to said he was victimized by a lot of drops. We'll see. I guess there's some plausibility there, but I don't know. That's a lot of drops in terms of your numbers dropping that far. I guess it's up to Malik Washington kind of to save Loxley's job. Now, based on my numbers, I don't like the chances of Washington. He doesn't have Lincoln Riley coaching him and basically bumping up his apex by 50 points in year two. I guess I'll put it that way. And let's put it this way. I was thinking even at the best, and I think you made this point in the Big Ten preview. Tawalia, I think his high apex was like maybe 110, just a little bit above average too.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
what's to expect? Like all of a sudden in year 7, we're gonna have just something that's not been seen in this program at all before.
Yeah. No, exactly right. So yeah, he's in trouble. I think if we have another 4-8 season, he's definitely gone. Worse than that, he's gone. Even a 5, and they need to make a bowl game and win it, and for him to survive. And I don't see that this year. We're gonna also go Mike Norvell, Florida State. Yeah, it's tough. This isn't the easiest schedule for them this year. They could have some problems here. So yeah, we're gonna go Mike Norvell, Florida State. Any comments on Norvell or no?
It's still he's got a big buyout. That's the thing. Now,
Yeah.
if you're judging by their quarterback, they clearly didn't invest a lot on the roster, maybe to save up for that buyout, right?
But see, here's the thing, right? If Miami is still one of the best teams in the ACC, and if Florida is even remotely competitive in the SEC, all of a sudden you're going to be the third best school in Florida by a mile, and maybe
Well,
even
I think they're
USF and
shooting for I
UCF
think
start
they're
catching.
shooting for third best right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. UCF, we definitely don't believe in Scott Frost in any capacity, but maybe depending, right? Depending on the day. I don't know.
Last year, South Florida was better.
Yep, South
I
Florida was good too, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
yeah, this is the thing where it's like I think if you're Florida State, I think you can't fall into third or potentially even fourth in the state of Florida. Um, Next up, we're gonna go Bill O'Brien, Boston College. This has been pretty rough for 2 years now. If this is another rough year, I think he could definitely be gone too. It is Boston College, but it's been so bad. It's been really rough in the ACC, and I think there's no way they paid him that much money. It was still his first contract, and at the same point in time, Boston College has had a history of being like a good team, and some of these there will be some decent coaches that will become available in the like from non-power 4 that the math has to make sense. Boston College actually has some academics and stuff. There's got to be a play there that will make money sense to get a decent coach instead of Bill O'Brien. So that's why I'm making that one off.
Okay, I don't disagree with that, but when you're saying like there's going to be somebody that makes sense, I'm just kind of thinking like local guys.
No, not local. You could
Okay,
pluck someone from like Texas or like I'm saying it'll be like
DJ
coach from
Kinney.
yeah DJ Kinney, coach from UTSA. Someone will do well and they'll have a 10-2 season or something, and they'll be like, oh, okay, we're gonna hire them now. Let's get rid of Bill O'Brien. Let's hire this person. It's only gonna cost us like $6 million or something. Great, let's do it.
So let's do this on the firing range this year. Anytime that somebody is fired, we each have to bring in, and it don't have to be unique. We just won't rehearse it. This job is now open. Here's 3 people that we think would be good for it. Each of
That's
us.
I like that. Yeah. There's also I did a little bit of analysis for the firing range. Stay tuned for next week because next week will be a bit short, so we're gonna preview some firing range stats. I did some more stats for that, so we'll talk about that next week. We're still not done yet. Third most likely, Bill Belichick, North Carolina. This one actually arguably should be higher. It's just the other two. Maybe my 2 is too high, or my next one up is too high, but Bill Belichick is in deep trouble, and the AD is gone. The AD that hired him is gone now, and his GM is gone.
Well,
So
suspended. Although I don't like his odds of coming back.
yeah, I'm not. But yeah, this is not. It's not great. It's not great. There's some weird investigation of something with NIL, and his son Steve Belichick is on medical leave.
Yep.
Yeah, this is going south real fast here. And I think that if we get another season, this might not even take that long. This could be like if the Dublin game is a blowout, like the last year for TCU versus North Carolina. If it's another blowout, then like this hot seat's gonna be insanely hot. Yeah,
In our next episode, when we're previewing week 0, I've got just some news on that's going to make me kind of fortifies your position. I'll just put it that way.
yeah. And then another one, we're gonna go. This one, this is probably too high. This probably should have been lower, but I'm gonna go Del McGee, Georgia State. This
Wow. Okay.
this this has been it's been really rough. The thing is, Georgia obviously is a Southern school. This is a Sun Belt team. You need to be competitive, and there's got to be a better coach. You could probably find an FCS coach. Again, now I'm not saying anything specifically about him, but you've had two-win seasons. This has been really bad for Georgia State. There's got to be a lot of pressure on him, and they say, oh, he's recruiting better, but that's what they always say before someone gets fired, like 6 weeks into the season. So then I heard that, I'm like, oh, that's the kiss of death right there. But no, that's been a really rough couple of years. And then my final coach,
One,
the
one, one,
coach.
one, one,
Oh,
one
go
little
ahead.
pushback on that one. They might have found a quarterback last year, and that guy might actually save his job. I'll put it this way: I think Cameron Brown is his name. I think I put more faith in him to save McGee's job than Washington does in Loxley's job. I can see that happening.
It's fair.
Okay, go
But
ahead.
the thing that is fair, but I think that on the flip side,
Everything else stinks about the program.
no, see that's the point, right? It's like, oh, okay, you're in the Sun Belt, right? If you're a good coach, you should be better than the other coaches there. You should be able to coach yourself to 4 or 5 wins. This shouldn't be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I was a good coach, but unfortunately my team was rough. I have 2 wins. It's like, no, it's like, okay, I have 5 wins. I have 4 or 5 wins, not 2 wins. So,
Well, and to that point, you do have easier coaches to go against. Let's be nice about it. In Clay Helton
yep,
and the guy at App State, who's Loggins,
yeah.
who was
He
just atrocious last year.
he almost made this list, but it's only 1 year. That's the thing. The only one I made the
Yeah.
exception for was Phil Longo because it was just so bad.
Coastal's in an absolute complete rebuild of a rebuild. So you got three very winnable games here. Not to make this the whole, hey, let's nerd out on Georgia State, but I think there's a path there. Not to spoil what I do or don't have, but I think this might be a big difference between our lists here. So,
It
yeah.
might be. I think that probably is a bit too high. It should have been lower. But there's another reason why I picked this. But I'm gonna save that for next week for why, because the
Okay.
analysis I've done. And my most likely to be fired head coach this year
Yes.
is Joe Hasemayak of
Okay.
UMass.
That's where I was going with a couple of questions. That's the one I think is so specific where I don't know, but I'm guessing his buyout is very low. And yet I think they might not even be able to afford it. Going back to the Phil Longo discussion, this is the horrible thing, the horrible thought exercise. Neutral field. I think I'm favoring Phil Longo's Sam Houston Bearcats over the Minutemen, right?
I I don't know who I would favor in FBS over who I would favor the Minutemen in FBS over.
Yeah, that's
Like,
where I'm
don't
going. Yeah.
Akron is better than them. Kent State is way better than them now. Is there anyone in FBS?
I
No,
don't.
I think.
As we said in the Mac preview, their their season win total is 2.5, and they have two FCS games. So even Vegas is saying it's 50-50 whether in the remaining 10 games they win one of them.
Yeah, that one of the games is against Akron, and the thing is, I don't think those FCS games are layups. Like, in the analysis I've done, they're covering the because in his one season he covered the spread 25% of the time.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was like there and those non-conference. One of them was a new one to me, which says a lot at 56 years old here. One of them was, I think, was it Stonehill or something like that? Does that sound right?
Yeah,
Sacred Heart and Stonehill. I had heard of Sacred Heart. Stonehill was a new one to me. I thought that sounds like a pub that would be down the street from you. So yeah, boy, that's. I don't know if I'd put him that high, but I can see the thought process there. I'll put it this way: I don't think he's going to. I don't think we'll master his name before he's no longer the coach at UMass. How about that?
maybe. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. All right, let's see
All
your
right.
list here.
So you have 14 at all. I'm not gonna reveal. I'm gonna give it verbally. So you don't know. So my 1 point hashtag the Matt Campbell theory. I'm going with Tim Albin at Charlotte. I know it's early, but Charlotte was
Yeah,
really bad last year, and as I made the case, I think that they could probably be as equally bad this year.
I was thinking of Tim Albin. He almost nearly made this list too. I just was. I think Sam Houston is a Texas school, so I thought that maybe there's more pressure to. There's just so many more other. You could just there's a ton of like FCS teams you could just pick up. Charlotte is North Carolina. It's still there's still a lot there, but I think it's just if you're Sam Houston, you're just like there's so many better options here. We don't have to do this.
Yeah. Number 2 was on your list, Mike Loxley.
Yeah.
Number 3 was not on your list, and I might just be a little hard on this guy. It's not like he's been horrible, but I think that it's going to get really bad this year. Major Applewhite at South Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's they took a pretty big step back last year, and I think their quarterbacking is going to be even worse this year. This guy was not on your list. My 4-point play here, and I'm kind of curious why you didn't include him. Luke Fickell.
Yeah, I thought so as well. I the thing is they do have a very kind of easy schedule this year, and it's like if you can get to 6-6, I think he's okay.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like
I can.
that's the line. You get to a bowl game, he's fine. And I think that might be all he needs, maybe, right? So I 100% see it. I probably should have put him on this list, but I went more I just with that, it's he finally gets his one chance to have a decent schedule and maybe he could do something. Right? Like, they did take down Washington last year. They did some stuff. Again, I'm not this is not massive improvement here, but maybe they've got a chance this year to do something.
Yeah, and he does. He'll probably have his best quarterback ever in Colton Joseph. Now,
Yeah.
he still doesn't have a functional offensive coordinator, so I think that's one of my sources of concern here too. Number 5, Dave Aranda, Baylor, who's on your
Yeah.
list. Number 6, Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
Number 7, I'm a little hurt. It's like you didn't pay attention to the MAC preview. I have John Hauser at Ohio. I,
Okay.
I he's interim-ish, and look, maybe they're going to be too proud. You made a good case about like the self-deception there, where they think, oh, we just do internal because we have the secret sauce here,
Yeah.
and I think the secret sauce is basically looking for a new job this year in the form of Brian Smith.
I think that's a bit too fast. That's the thing, right? I agree. It's gonna be. See, there's some that didn't make the list. That was one of them. That was like, it's too fast. First year, like year zero, you're gonna a one and done is a bit rarer, right? So
Yeah, I don't. I'd be interested what his contract is. I don't. I didn't look that up. The other thing is, I'm kind of. I think I'd be curious what the expectations are in Athens for Ohio, because if they're probably expecting 7 wins, I'm looking at 3, maybe,
hmm
and maybe that's enough. It might just come down to the terms of his contract as much as anything. All right, my 8 point is on your list as well, Derek Mason.
yeah,
9 is pretty much the most obvious of the obvious, and it's on your list, Scotty Walden at UTEP. It's way past time. This is like the bonus season we got of Will Hall at Southern Miss, where it's like I get to still bet against this guy every week because people don't really understand how bad
hmm
it is there. And they're moving up in conference too, and it's a significant move. God bless CUSA. Mountain West is several steps above that. I do have one more, just
okay,
one. He's not on your list. My top
interesting.
one here. If I give the name, you might not even remember it because it's a very specific circumstance. Rob Harley, Northern Illinois,
Oh, the interim,
who took ish, yeah, I think so.
or what? Not interim, but
He's the Mark Carney of
yeah.
Northern Illinois. I don't think it's going to go the same as Mark Carney did it in Kent State. Now, the only little concern here is this quarterback they got from, I don't know if he's Division Two. Apparently he's very talented, but apparently, I don't know. He wasn't even there for spring. And I don't know if there's anything else there at all to help him. Plus, again, you're moving up from the MAC to Mountain West, which is significant, and you're going to be like on a travel island. I think it's just going to go really bad for Northern. So, obviously, those last two, I was under on the season win totals as well. And that's my list. I only went 10 deep.
Yeah, that is interesting. So why did you artificially limit it?
I don't think I limited it. My strategy was I had no idea how deep you were going to go.
Mm-hmm.
My first four were kind of like, I'll just put something here to give my most confident more points, if you
Mm-hmm.
will. So you've got, and I don't have Belichick or McGee or Joe H, we'll just call him. So that could just determine the whole thing right there. Just your three. Your top three
Yeah,
are not
those
on my
could be.
list.
That could. That's the thing. And actually, you know what? I'm thinking about it now because I padded the bottom with Sark and Dabo. That's now that basically increases the payout for the bigger fish down
Yeah,
the at the bottom. And yeah, if UMass, if here's the thing, we're gonna know UMass really quickly. I think they play Rutgers, so good luck, and then they play the two FCS teams in week 2 and 3.
yeah.
So we'll know really quickly. We'll know by the end of September if they lose one or both of those games, then he's done. So that'll be like only 14 points basically.
I don't know. I question the commitment to football there. I could see them just sticking with him just because they have nothing else. Nobody else really cares.
Could you
So,
imagine? Could you imagine though if they now probably they win a game, but like it's a non-zero chance they lose all 12 games again, right? It's non-zero.
oh
Like
yeah, I think they're gonna win one of the FCS. So
we
you've got
hope.
year
I
over
mean,
year improvement.
we've seen FBS teams lose to FCS teams, and we're seeing it more often. Now, I don't think they're playing the top FCS teams though.
I don't, and I maybe it's happened, but I don't. I really question if an FBS team has been swept in terms of you played more than one and you lost to both of them in the same season.
That's another question I have. How are they allowed to play two FCS teams?
Who's going to argue it's UMass?
They're like someone
Who are they
complains
getting
and be
over
like,
on?
just let them. It's like someone goes complains to the NCAA.
Yeah.
They're like, just let them. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, no,
Shh.
it's like the
It's
mentally
okay.
ill person who like shoplifts. They're like, look, it doesn't matter. It's a candy bar. Just nobody's hurt. Okay.
Yeah, but
So
like yeah, because I thought they could only schedule one FCS team to maintain bowl eligibility. So are they non-bowl eligible? Because I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't. This is like the
what a
most.
sacrifice on their end, right?
Yeah, this is the most irrelevant argument of we did this so we could get 2 wins, but we can't go to a bowl game. We couldn't go to a bowl game anyway.
No.
But no, yeah. If they has anybody ever gone 0-12, 0-12, like 0-24?
I think Eastern might have done that before Creighton got there. Now I think they probably won a couple games, but boy, that's what comes to mind.
But like, even
Boy,
then, okay, so let's say they win the two FCS games and then they still lose to Akron, which they probably will.
yeah,
So
no,
now
Akron has.
yeah, Akron's better than them. So you're gonna rest. He's gonna go into the offseason. He's gonna rest his laurels on being 2-22.
Yeah, Ball State is winnable. How about that?
Okay, maybe it was
They're,
bad this year.
it is again talking about the MAC. You're with your list of quotes. It's really bad. It's bad. It's really bad.
This is the
You
remember the
brand ambassadorship for the MAC there.
yeah, this is the remember the hypothetical of if UMass and Ohio State scheduled home and away every
Yeah,
year for 100 years, how many games would UMass win? So
zero. Only because you can't go lower than zero. How about that?
I will say that like when watching the Kansas Texas game, I think they basically played every year because they went back to Kansas because they said that the wins that times that Kansas had beat Texas, and they won in like 1908 and like 1920, I think sometime in the 60s, and that was it. So even Kansas and Texas, Kansas still beat Ohio, Texas like 3 times in 100 years. Now it's still actually worse. This is a worse team and an arguably better team, but still though 3 times in 100 years.
Yeah, you're not going to talk me off of zero. All right, good times. The next game is we are going to do a draft here where we are drafting, we're each going to draft 12 teams. And as I get ready here real quick, we're each going to draft 12 teams basically to who we think is going to make the college football playoff. So I'm going to do the old Caddyshack trick here. I'm writing down a number. I've written it down.
Okay.
And you tell me if it's even or if it's odd.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Okay. Odd.
It's even. The number is
Oh, okay.
1,978. Not my year of birth, but not too far. So I'm going to go out of, there we go, out of presentation mode into data input mode. So I will go first in that case, and I will take your Ducks of Oregon.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right. Then in that case, then I am totally fine with my number one pick, Indiana.
The number two on my list. Okay, we're working from the
Yeah.
same
So the
template here.
one thing I will
Oh,
say after we're done here, we will do like some post game talk. But I feel perfectly safe saying
yeah,
this too. Yeah, Indiana, Oregon were my number one and two on my list too. So to be honest, we did the number thing to figure out who went first or not. I honestly don't think it mattered. These were one and one A. So
yeah, yeah. All right, we'll do snake draft here, so you get the next pick.
oh, okay. I'm gonna go Notre Dame.
Wow, you're number three on my list. Okay, I will go with Graham's Georgia Bulldogs,
Okay.
and I will also take Josh's Hurricanes of the U.
That's good. You're smart there. You thought I was gonna snake you doing Miami of Ohio. No, we would have obviously known Miami, Florida.
It's just
Uh,
data hygiene on my end.
yes. We're gonna go Ohio State, not Ohio State,
Okay.
and then this is where it starts getting trickier.
Yeah, I don't want you to leave me with the team that I'm looking at next on my list. I really want you to take this team. I'll just put it that way.
I'm gonna go Texas Tech.
Thank you. I didn't want to do that. That's
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna jump in front of that train. I don't love it, but we'll talk more about this later.
yeah. Boy, that leaves me with a little bit of a jump here in terms of Oklahoma, who I like, but far from a sure thing. Speaking of far from a sure thing, I think probably the only overlap that we'll have between this and the prior game, gotta go with Texas if I'm just going down my list here.
Interesting. Okay. So I took away Texas Tech from you. You didn't want to take Texas Tech. You took Texas away from me. We took care of each other's problem child there. That's
Yeah,
good.
we did each other a
Okay.
favor.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go.
And literally, I just want to point out, like, there's 9 teams. This is like literally the top 9 in my list too. I don't know
Yeah.
if, yeah,
It's a bit different for me. This is
okay,
basically I'm basically going off my top 25, but with some slight adjustments. But basically my top 25. Give me LSU, and then give me Michigan.
wow, okay, all right. That leaves me. I'm going to take Kalen DeBoer to get back, and my team to make it for the first time.
There
Alabama
you
and
go.
USC.
All right. Give me Penn State and BYU.
All right, BYU first team that was not on my list. Just the Big 12 is such a difficult exercise in this one, right?
Yeah, but I feel like I'm making up for my Texas Tech pick.
Okay, fair. Kind of like the handcuffs in fantasy
Yeah.
football, right? Yeah. Penn State, I made the case against them in the Big Ten preview, and they're on my list just because the schedule is there and they're a Big Ten team. And it's not impossible for them to go 10-2. And if you do
Yeah.
that in the Big Ten, you're going to make it. I think we're just stuck with teams that we're not wild about at this point. So I'm going to go with Ole Miss. Boy, I'm SEC heavy, although I guess the playoff is too. And our good friends in College Station, Texas A&M.
Okay. Give me give me Tennessee and Louisville.
Wow. Yeah, Louisville's another one of those where, you know, is the ACC going to get two? Let me just ask you this. Is this kind of presuming that Miami screws up or that the
Yeah,
ACC gets two teams?
this is Miami screws up insurance.
Okay. This is officially where I get laughed at, Robert.
I think I know where you're gonna go with this.
This one surprised me, but I'm going with your Gators.
Oh
Even more SEC.
wow, okay,
Yeah. Um, and Grandpa, I'm going with Iowa.
okay, all right.
You
I'll
have two more, and then I have one
yeah.
more.
Give me SMU and North Dakota State.
Wow. All right. SMU is another team. It was like, wow, do I? They were on my list. Did not have North Dakota State on my list, but can clearly see the case there. I've got three teams left.
See, I'll say because I'm done picking now. I've jammed you now.
Have you?
Yeah, because you basically can't pick anything from the ACC or the Big 12.
Yeah. Nobody. None of my final three are on that list.
Okay.
Or from those. I'm gonna pass up on Washington. I actually had on my list South Carolina too, just because the SEC. I'm even going to go against what I said in the Mountain West. I'm just going to go with Memphis. I think that
Hmm.
if they go 10-2, they might be like the only warm body around that the committee sees.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, putting this together was interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like I didn't anticipate having Penn State anywhere close on my list. We go through this. It's not that you run out of teams. It's that like certain teams just stare you in the face about, yeah, there's the definitive path here. That's one that I saw.
You can to presentation mode.
Oh yeah.
No, and that's the thing, right? Is that there is a lot of this is such a fun exercise because one you have to because some people what a lot of podcasts do is they're like, oh, here's my 12 team playoff, and it's pointless for 8 different reasons. One of which is the fact that they pick one G5 team, or some do, oh, this is the G5 team. But the G5 pick is so difficult, it basically deserves
Yeah.
its own podcast by itself. So then they just pick the chalky pick of Boise State for some reason, even though that's clearly wrong. I think picking any one individual, like if you're doing a bracket, picking any one individual G5 team is just clearly wrong. You're never going to nail it right off the bat. But
Yes.
this forces you to think probabilistically of what's the next most likely team to make it, right? And trying to formulate a bracket and the final rankings at the end of the season, that's insane. There's no way that's going to work. You're never going to be able to nail that, right? So by this way, picking teams that you think have a better than not chance of making the playoff, that's it, you think through it, and now we can go through the strategy here. So there's basically before this, I was mapping this one out. There's a lot of games within games here. So the one game that I thought was the first game was where do you pick an SEC team? And one of the things that I keep thinking back when I was brainstorming this project was I think this year we could see 5 Big 10 teams and 3 SEC teams.
Don't threaten me with a good time, okay? I
No, because here's the thing, right? The argument last year was, oh, the SEC is still a better conference than the Big Ten, and then that was definitively proved wrong. But now they're like, oh, okay, the best teams in the Big Ten are better than the best teams in the SEC, but the middle part of the SEC is better than the Big Ten, even though there's actually really not much proof for this at all, other than just people's feelings. There's like bowl results don't prove this, the playoff results don't prove this, but sure, okay, fine. And I think if that gets disproven this year, then you're going to see a 5-3 Big Ten SEC playoff, right? So the big question was where was the first SEC team going to go? And you grabbed them basically right off the top, not right off the top, your second pick. And then you went Oklahoma, Texas. I just think the SEC is just so chaotic this year. You finally have a 9-game schedule, which means a lot of these teams have the hardest schedule they've ever had. And that's not people are like, oh, the SEC is so difficult. It's like, no, the SEC is so big, and some of the teams in the SEC are just not good and so bad that people have been preying on these lower tier teams for years. Georgia's always had a relatively easy schedule, relatively easy. Of course, they play one or two difficult games a year, but a relatively easy schedule. Texas has had relatively easy schedules. So has Alabama and even South Carolina and stuff. Finally, Alabama played a more difficult schedule last year. They only had the 2 wins. This year, the schedule gets even harder because you add in another SEC team. So this is the thing where it's like my strategy for the SEC was just pick the long shots like LSU and Tennessee are just like insane value of if they overperform and their schedules are maybe a bit easier than some of the top SEC teams, then they have a non-zero chance of just breaking through here. Texas A&M has their hardest schedule in several years here in the SEC. I worry a lot about Texas and Texas A&M and their schedule. Even Oklahoma's schedule is very difficult too, right? If these teams have 3 losses, but if LSU and Tennessee scrape by with only 2 losses, I think that there's a non-zero chance that we get to the end for the SEC and someone is the winner with 2 losses, and then there's a third loss team that played in the conference championship game, and then there's maybe one other team with 2 losses, and then everyone else has 3 losses, then we know which way that's going to go, right?
Yeah, yeah. Do you bring up an interesting thing, and I wound up with both of these teams. Does Texas A&M feel like a playoff play-in game?
Maybe it depends if Sark's still there.
Okay.
But if it's not, if he is still there, then yeah, it very real. It very if Sark is having an okay-ish year, then yeah, it could be a playoff play-in game. But I definitely foresee a scenario where it's not a play-in game, where it's basically like Texas is already eliminated, and like Texas A&M needs to beat Texas. Like Texas plays spoiler to Texas A&M to get them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. What's the next team on your list? If you had one more pick, who would you go with here?
I the thing is, we've pretty much cleaned through everything. There's an argument for Houston, but I don't. I just don't want to take the third. What I feel like the
Yeah,
third
yeah,
best Big 12 team,
yeah.
or like Utah, but then again, you're the third best Big Ten, like a fourth best Big Ten team or something like that.
New
I feel
coach,
like
UBC. That's
yeah,
crazy.
I feel like at this point you just start taking chances on like G5 teams. Like this is where I'd go maybe New Mexico State. Oh,
Edit.
sorry, no, sorry, my bad. New Mexico, not New Mexico State. Sorry, New
Yeah,
Mexico.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
New Mexico, UTSA, maybe Boise, maybe like it's bad,
Boise
but
went across my mind, but I couldn't get over. Remember when we did the Pac-12 preview? The top six, there was like a 6 point difference over like most of the conference. Like it's so close, and people don't believe it. Just on the fact that it's like a sucker bet.
yeah,
On like the casual pod, just like Boise, of course, is going to be the most likely college football G5. It's like okay, no, I can't do that. I can't. I can. I'll put it this way: Boise for me is kind. I couldn't because that's a competitive conference, and I'm on the other side of the trade of North Dakota State, but I definitely get the case there in that like clearly Washington is a better team than North Dakota State, but you do the math and it's North Dakota State and I think Memphis have a better chance of being in a position to make the playoff, right? If
I
of course
yeah,
we're assuming that the committee has some form of rationality, which is a hit and miss proposition.
I one of the reasons for North Dakota State is I think that story is irresistible, right? And if North Dakota State is 11-1, and if something like UTSA or Memphis or something is like 10-2, I think that's it's dumb. This is dumb. Do not get me wrong. This is not me making like oh okay like this is me saying the committee is dumb and is going to do a dumb thing. That's what this is. This is not like a oh I think that North Dakota like this is a oh they're going to love the story of them coming up from FCS and making the playoffs in the first year and they're going to put them. That's what this is a bet on. It is not a bet on North Dakota State being better than say a Memphis or a UTSA or something. This is a they are dumb and are going to do a dumb thing. That is what the bet is there.
Let me okay. Which is always a good strategy when it comes to these idiots. I want to just look something up here real quick. Give me one moment here. I'm going to get there in 1 second. I have a very specific question about, I'm going to make sure that they play. Yeah. October 24th, North Dakota State is at New Mexico. Does that feel like kind of a loser leaves town in terms of the playoff and the winner?
Yeah.
has something of a, I don't say inside track, but they're in the Derby field.
Yeah,
Yeah, really good game to watch there.
that
That's
will
going
be
to
a
be,
good game.
hopefully it'll be on TV, like usual TV. One other question for you, because I did not expect this team to be on my list. Did Florida make your kind of list to pick from here?
They were like close-ish. I just think it's maybe a little early. An 8-4 Florida team is a massive success for Florida, and Florida fans will be very happy. But that's obviously not a playoff team, right? If Summerall goes 8-4, people are gonna be like massive success, good job, everybody's happy. But on the flip side, that's still not. He would need to have what Florida fans would deem a successful season, and then go even further, and then get to a ninth win, a 10th win. And it's not impossible. I Again, they play Texas, they play a bunch of other teams too. It's possible they can get those wins, but it's just you need to build a program that has been lagging for so many years, and you have to completely rebuild it in 1 year in the toughest conference. And is Summerall the person to do it? Yes. But now we'll see the results on the field. Maybe Florida will just absolutely come in and just dominate, and then they'll get to 10 wins, and then that scenario I described, where the winner of the SEC has 2 losses, and then there's a 3-loss team and a 2-loss team, a 3-loss team that play in the conference championship game, and then another 2-loss team. Maybe Florida's one of those teams, right? 100% could be. I think Tennessee could be that team. South Carolina could be that team. Oklahoma could be that team. Alabama could be that team. Georgia could even be that team potentially too, right? Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Texas. There's so many teams it could be, but in my mind, I don't think Florida's there yet. I think I'm ready to bet Florida for next year. If you gave me plus money at Florida making the playoff next year, yeah, 100% down for that. But just not this year. I'm not there with Florida this year.
That's that, and not to say I thought about this more than you. That's where my brain was, and then I'm looking at the other teams on my list, like Iowa, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking, yeah, you know what? In 4 seasons, Summerall has 3 conference titles, and the other one he lost the conference title game to Army, a really good Army team, like a savage Army team. And I know the SEC is different, but when you have like Florida, it seems, and I don't know, it seems like it's easier to do a rebuild than Kentucky could be years and years here. I don't know. I look at Florida a little differently after going through this exercise. Not that I think they're going to be that good, but I think there's more upside once you kind of go through this list, and it's like, yeah, crap. Let me put it this way. So you would put all the 4 teams that we collectively have below Florida: SMU, Iowa, North Dakota State, and Memphis. You think that literally all 4 of those probably have a better chance of making the playoff than Florida?
No, I think Florida has a better chance than Iowa.
Okay.
But because I like there an 8-4 Iowa is gonna it's just gonna be such a sad Iowa, or even a 9-3 Iowa. Like I don't think the committee is gonna give them respect, but a 9-3 Florida or a 10-2 Florida is gonna have so much respect from the committee from surviving, right? So I'd put SMU is tricky because SMU is like the insurance. SMU and Louisville are the Miami insurance play. If Miami screws up, then it's gonna be one of
Yeah.
them. So I because it was actually hilarious. Those are the 2 teams that actually beat Miami in the regular season last year. And assuming that they don't screw up somewhere else in the year, then I think this is a very real play here, right? So I Florida's very close with those. I just picked a G5 team, but Florida is up there. Florida is not like I'm ranking Florida like 50th or something. I want to put them in my top 25. I'm not. I may actually put them in my top 25. I don't know. It's between them and like Utah or something. It's close. I vaguely want to put them in over Utah, but we'll see.
That'll be next week, by the way. We go over our pipeline top 25. All right. Good stuff. I enjoyed that. So those are the games. Now here's the gags. Robert made the suggestion when I told him a funny story about one issue I had when I was getting the cartoons together for the conference previews. He said, "Let's just have a little segment where we go through
The failed.
all of the dumb things that Gemini did here." So I'm calling this "AI will never take your job," and I'm trying to do this as much as I encounter these sequentially. And Robert's only seen one of these. So you remember when we did the ACC preview, I made a joke about that we're so hard on Clemson because we were coaches there, and Dabo was yelling at us as assistant coaches, and we've just been taking it personally against him ever since. So I said, hey, I just asked Gemini to make a thing about Dabo yelling at us. And Gemini just made Dabo an extra head coming out of your body, which is fantastic here. I love that.
Yeah, and then the game Clemson is playing Clemson. They're
Yeah.
actually tackling each other on the field.
Yes. 35-7, playing to the same stadium that Kennesaw State plays at. After that, we did the Big 12. And you remember I had an off color joke about being backed up, constipated with too many picks in the conference. I was asking Duck for help.
Yes.
So I asked for the graphic, and the first one was, oh, where are you? AI didn't quite get it right, where it left me in the Clemson gear.
Yeah.
And of course, who among us does not relieve ourselves with our shorts, still wearing our shorts, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And the Clemson headgear, no shirt. I don't get too familiar, but there was a. Did you ever see Seinfeld at all? I know that's more my generation than yours.
I've seen Seinfeld episodes.
There was just a really good one where George came out of using Jerry's bathroom and he's putting his shirt on, and there's a whole thing about why are you taking off your shirt to use my bathroom? And that was what I thought of when I saw this. So then we
Mm-hmm.
did the Pac-12 preview, and you might remember that there was I likened the conference to a souffle that had just fallen. It was not executing the Pac-12 what was promised in terms of being Pacific or 12, but it is football with kind of a conference schedule, but also your flex games. So I asked AI had a souffle. I said, I want the souffle more fallen. I said more and more fallen. And then I said, make it even more fallen and sad. And Gemini, I've circled it here. For the sad part, it actually has there's a little tear coming out of the souffle. Not
Did
understanding that
did you
inanimate objects cannot in fact cry.
did you yell at the souffle?
Yeah, I think the souffle is upset that like you're yelling at it with the headphones on, and the waiter in the back is just disappointed in the whole thing. The sad waiter.
Mm-hmm.
All right. After this, we did the American. I think I might have mentioned this to you, but you haven't seen this. So the nice picture that we have, it was after a lot of work. Here's what happens, Robert. I'm arguing with Gemini about no, the turkey drumstick in my hand needs to be big. I need to be normal sized, and my head needs to be normal sized. And every time I'm like arguing with it, I'm going to grab the pointer here. The great thing is, it's just putting your body more and more like melding into the table. And
Yeah.
every time I'm doing it, it's your head is sinking into your torso. It's just gratuitously
I think I'm a man in this. Yeah.
with like negative neck. You started normal, but I'm like drumstick normal, or drumstick big, mark normal, and it's like okay, yeah, we'll just shrink this guy and just make him more circular here. So when it fixed it, I just noticed this. I didn't notice it when it did the first one. This is what we went with at the end here. Because Robert, who among us, after we've gone through the satisfying exercise of barbecuing an entire fowl, whether it's chicken or turkey, on the barbecue, as you apparently did, don't we all just say, get me a bowl, I'll just put this whole carcass in the bowl here? Because God knows BuckMetrics is just a savage. He doesn't need any implements. He doesn't need it butchered. He'll just tear it apart with his own hands here.
Yeah. Everybody gets their own bowl of one chicken.
Is that it? Did they do that in Canada? I don't know. If
Yeah.
apparently it's an American thing since this is for the American conference.
Yeah. You go to Costco. You just get a chicken from rotisserie chicken from Costco. Just stick it in a bowl and you're done. There you go.
Exactly. As we all do. All right. When we did the SEC, you remember I had that beautiful graphic of Ryan Day and Dan Lanning being thrown into the big wood chipper?
Yes.
So I asked Gemini, I said, all right, I want you to give these three guys, us three, me, you, and Graham, I want you to have us staring at a wood chipper. And what I had in mind is not, it did the okie doke. It just gave me this little tiny wood chipper, which was so sad. I'm like, that's not what I wanted. I said,
No.
no, I want a big wood chipper. I don't want a small wood chipper. And so what it does in the Gemini fashion, it says, okay, I'll just kind of move it so you guys are looking at nothing. And then there's a big wood chipper that nobody's looking at. Just
Yeah,
Gemini.
that's amazing. That's because there's so many things wrong with this, obviously. Because one, the small wood chipper it doesn't work that way. That's not how a wood chipper works. Like, where do you put the wood? And
Exactly.
spits it out. It's all wrong. But then, yeah, we're looking at the small wood chipper, and
Well, we're looking
this
where
is
it used to be.
Yeah, it moved too. The small wood chipper moved, and there's just this giant one off to the side. It's hilarious.
All right. And then you remember we, in the Mac preview, I said, we had a nice cartoon there. I said, yeah, the Mac is full of guys that'll play, despite you bad mouthing the Mac, and it's bad, it's really bad, and this is bad, and it doesn't get any better. I try to make it nice and saying these are kids, as they say, they're going to play in the parking lot of a glass factory. So I asked Jim and I said, hey, have us playing in the park, playing Mac football in the parking lot of a glass factory. And it got it. It just said, okay, you're still in your Kennesaw State coaching gear. We're gonna have different kind of players here. We've got a guy from Toledo and Western and Miami. I guess there's another Miami guy here. Very robust, or not robust, but very hardy Mac crowd here in the factory parking lot. But there's also a football stadium involved here too. Although we're outside of it, but there's some bleachers here. Very confusing. So I just said, look, no, we're playing. We're not coaching.
Hmm.
And so then we get this. We all know that who doesn't play without a play sheet in their hand, either right or left hand, you with a clipboard, right? And I'll go back for a second here. Here you've got two arms, and then again it's giving you two arms, right? And I thought, am I seeing a pattern here? So then for some reason, Gemini just likes to give you extra limbs and appendages here. Let's not forget, in the firing range, you've got three arms and some, oh, like kind of four hands. If we're going,
Yeah.
you've got the extra head, that's Dabo. You might remember when we were talking about baseball playoffs going against Conference USA, just an extra hand here, just in your chest as well. I don't know what it is about you, Robert, and extra appendages and limbs.
It knows I use Claude. It knows.
It's
I
angry at you.
I will say the Mac one is really funny because the smokestacks there, those like the concrete ones with the steam coming, those are very specifically nuclear reactors. Like
Yeah,
that's the there's like a two nuclear reactor set up in this random midwestern town. That the Mac one's not bad. Yeah, obviously it's weird that we're outside of the stadium, but also inside the stadium there's a nuclear reactor for some reason. So I don't know. There's got to be some nuclear power plant in the Midwest, right? There's got to be.
if you include maybe UMass in the footprint, how about this? You throw in UMass and Sacramento somewhere in the footprint. There's got to be.
Somewhere in there. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
just draw lines and
Although I don't think, and we'll end on this, since this is the last one, I do not think that during any broadcast this year they will say, you know what, these young men are just tough. They'll even play in the parking lot of a nuclear power plant. I don't think we'll hear that this year.
yes, I don't think we'll hear that. No, but that'd be fun. I was thinking like a college football game in like the parking lot of Chernobyl, but
Maybe that's it. Maybe you've been playing too close to the nuclear power
yeah,
plant and you get these extra limbs.
you got these
That's
extra
how my
limbs.
dad
Yeah,
sprang out of your neck.
that makes some sense. That makes some sense. So
All right. Good times, Robert. That
yes,
is it for our final, what do we want to say? Our final preseason. Our next one will be a week zero preview. We hope you all join us in that. We will see you then. Until then, bye bye.